In majority of horror movies, at least one person dies because of their stupid decisions. Most of the times, horror victims fall for monsters because they try to investigate strange sounds instead of just bolt in the opposite direction. However, in this movie, this father and son do not make such mistakes. They take most logical decisions as any sane person would do. But that's not enough to save them from the unique monster and her powers in this movie. Movie name is The Autopsy of Jane Doe. As the name suggests, the story revolves around a corpse of an unidentified young woman. Before I go to the topic of the video, let me lay out the background of the story. Jane Doe was recovered from a crime scene. There were three people murdered in a house in a small town. Crime scene suggests that they were trying to break out from the house. What were they trying to flee from? There's a strange thing in the basement of that house. It was a partially buried corpse of a young woman. There's a stark contrast between her body and other three bodies. Her body is scratch free and looks so clean. Detectives know the other three dead people, but they couldn't identify the mysterious woman or the cause of her death. So Sheriff himself wheeled her body into the Tilden morgue and crematorium. Sheriff handed Jane Doe to Tilden's and asked them to find her cause of death before the next morning. Tommy Tilden was the coroner and his son Austin Tilden was the certified medical technician. They are as professional as you could ask for. After they got mysterious woman's body, they opened a file under the name Jane Doe since they did not know her name and proceeded to perform the autopsy. First stage of the autopsy, which was the external examination of the body, was completed without any unusual incidents. Don't get me wrong, they found many strange things about Jane Doe from that external examination alone, but they did not experience any paranormal or supernatural phenomena. But all things started to go south as soon as the coroner put his scalpel on Jane Doe in order to begin the next stage of the autopsy, which was the internal examination. Electronics started to act up. Lights flickered. Radio changed channels on its own. For a brief moment, you can hear a woman's scream coming from that radio. And then it started to play a song named Open Up Your Heart and Let the Sunshine In. It feels like Jane Doe was protesting against being cut. Austin was the first to experience odd things going around them. For a split second, he saw a reflection of a strange figure standing in the hallway. Then he saw a morgue drawer opening by itself. Shortly after that, the weather person on the radio announced an oncoming storm. A strange thing is that previously weather report had promised a beautiful weather for the next few days. Austin may have felt something because he suggested that his father postpone the autopsy until the next morning. Father reminded Austin that they need to find the cause of death of Jane Doe before morning as per sheriff's request. After a while, radio gave serious weather reports, including flash flood warnings. Then something strange happened. Weatherman said, "One thing's for sure, you are not going anywhere." And then automatically changed the channel to play the same song, Open Up Your Heart and Let the Sunshine In. Again, Austin voiced his concerns and suggested to leave the morgue. But his father was preoccupied with some new finding and wasn't paying attention to Austin. There was something under Jane Doe's skin. So they peeled Jane Doe's skin to reveal some strange runes. That's when all the hell broke loose. Tommy and Austin both saw morgue drawers opening by themselves, and light bulbs blew out just before a power failure. In the total darkness, they could hear bodies falling out from the drawers. Austin used his phone's light to look around, and they saw empty drawers and their content, three corpses nowhere to be seen. Tommy saw what happened and did not bother to stick around to make sense of the situation. Instead, he suggested to get the hell out of there. Tilden morgue is located in the basement of their family home. It has two entrances. One is an elevator and the second one is a cellar door. When they got into the hallway, emergency generator kicked in. So they hurried to the elevator. But emergency power wasn't enough to operate it. By this time, the storm was on top of them. They could hear trees falling down outside. Since the elevator was a no-go, they went for the cellar door. It was blocked by a fallen tree. As soon as they figured out that they can't open the cellar door, Austin checked his phone to call for help. But there was no signal. Tommy right away went to the office to use the landline. When they were walking toward the office, they heard a strange thumping noise coming from the direction of the morgue. They did not try to investigate the source. Instead, they bolted into the office and locked the door behind them. That's when the real hauntings began. A literal corpse tried to break into the office. Father and son barricaded themselves inside the room. But they were not dealing with zombies here. Whatever the power in Jane Doe could easily get into the barricaded room. She proved it by attacking Tommy in the room and toppling down the barricade from inside the room. Tommy and Austin realized that they needed to destroy Jane Doe's corpse for their survival. They had an incinerator in-house, so it should have been an easy task to burn down a corpse and destroy whatever evil powers residing in it. Well, that would have been the case if the corpse stayed as a corpse. But this corpse wasn't ready to go without a fight. Morgue doors closed by themselves to prevent them taking out Jane Doe's body. Without missing a beat, Austin took an axe and started to axe down the door. But there was a corpse outside the door, preventing them going out. Austin had enough of it. He took a can of inflammable liquid to Jane Doe's body to set it on fire, right there on the autopsy table. His father helped him, but the protective magic on Jane Doe was so powerful that it would not allow fire to harm even a single hair on her body. Then they heard the sound of the elevator coming down. They went for it, but this time they were armed because Austin did not forget to take the axe with him. While they were trying to operate the elevator, the corpse with the bell came again to haunt them. This time, Tommy took the offense and attacked it with the axe. They had no way to know that Jane Doe was playing a trick on them. She hoodwinked them to attack one of their own. Tommy unknowingly attacked Austin's girlfriend Emma. Poor girl had came down the elevator looking for Austin. I can only imagine what Austin was going through at that moment. But he let his father to lead him to the elevator without trying to stay with his dead girlfriend or going berserk. Obviously, Jane Doe wasn't going to let them go, and on the same time, she wasn't finishing them off too. Austin theorized that Jane Doe was afraid of them finding what makes her tick. So they decided to carry on with the autopsy in hope of finding a way to stop this madness. Dissecting her brain revealed that Jane Doe was actually still alive. Well, at least her brain wasn't dead. Tommy theorized that Jane Doe could feel everything and she wanted people to know her pains. And that's why she was keeping Tommy and Austin alive. As a good father, Tommy asked Jane Doe to spare his son and do whatever she wanted to do to him. It was a big sacrifice because every injury in Jane Doe's body started to transfer onto Tommy's body. He couldn't bear it. Tommy asked his son to spare him from the pain. Austin complied. Finally, everything went back to normal. Power came back. As in every movie, cavalry arrived at the very end. Austin could hear Sheriff Burke was trying to get in via the cellar door. People were removing fallen trees using chainsaws and vehicles. As a viewer, you get the feeling that something isn't right when Austin fails to open the door, and your heart sinks when you hear Sheriff Burke starts to sing Let the Sunshine in song. Horror wasn't over yet. A corpse came for Austin, but this time it was his own father's corpse. Austin fell down and broke his neck. I'm actually sad about the victims of this movie. Father-son duo seems pretty decent fellows who loved their job. What was Jane Doe's beef with Emma? Emma wasn't even involved in the autopsy. They did not deserve to die like that. They tried to escape as soon as they felt something was not right. When they were trapped, they called for help, barricaded them from the danger, tried to destroy the cause of all the horrors, tried to escape again, took offense and lost Emma, doubled down and found the secret of Jane Doe. Father sacrificed himself for the freedom of his son. Nothing mattered. Jane Doe was never going to let them out alive. When Sheriff Burke really came into the morgue to witness the aftermath of Jane Doe's doing, we can hear the weather report in the radio. It says it's the fourth day of continuous sunshine. So which means every bad weather report was an illusion. And the one where the weather person says you are not going anywhere is not a coincidence, but a promise from Jane Doe. Are there more horror movies like this one where protagonists do everything right but end up dead anyway? That's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Help me to grow this channel. Have a nice day.